I'll make it right today, hopefully. Good morning to everybody, and thank you for joining and for listening to my monologue. Let's see, we are in Unit 2, and frankly, folks, we finished Unit 2. It's a short and sweet unit, which is how they all should be. So, what I want to do today is review. Rather than just me doing the questions, I'd like to do this. I want to cover everything we saw in the last like 4 lessons, adding and subtracting polynomials. That's what we started with. And then we did multiplying polynomials. And then we got up to the factoring, the fun stuff, the good stuff, the meaty stuff. So that was factoring when A is equal to 1. And then just yesterday, we looked at cases when A is not 1. And actually, I didn't assemble today's like review questions heavy on yesterday's. So it's mostly going to be older stuff that it's been a few days and a week since we've done it. So adding and subtracting polynomials, multiplying polynomials, and then some questions about factoring when A is equal to 1. The simpler factoring questions. And then maybe we'll do another short review tomorrow where we cover some more of like yesterday's work. So instead of me just doing these problems, I would like to get everyone involved today. And what I'd like to do, I'm going to put up a question on the screen. I think I've got 15 ready to go. And these are, they're from Edmentum, but I figure let's use those because it's the kind of format that you'll see in the, the mastery tests and in the post test. I'd like everyone to try doing each problem. And I'd like everyone to at least answer one question today. So I really appreciate the folks who feel comfortable answering regularly, but I would like everyone to try doing at least one. And I'm going to count that as like our participation for today. So I won't make you show me your notes or all the work we do, but I'm going to just mark down everyone who answers at least one question for your participation. And instead of just jumping out with the answer, now there's nothing wrong with that, but just so that it's not totally chaotic, if you're ready with an answer or at least some ideas on the answer of how you would proceed, that'll count as participation too. Maybe you can't answer the whole question, but maybe you can start the problem. Maybe you can share what you know about it, what we don't know about it, and what do you think maybe we can do to start solving it? I'll count that as participation. So you don't have to just like have it all worked out and have the final answer, but I'd like you to at least tell me, what do you know about the problem? What do we not know? What do we need to know to like figure it out? So just tell me what you can see about the question, and that will count as participation, even if you can't figure out the whole answer. And that's all good. So instead of just like turn on your mic and jumping in and like, hey, I got it. The answer's 5. The answer is 72. Tell me through the chat. I'll try to keep the chat open. Or you can turn on your mic and say, Josiah, I think I have an answer, or I'd like to try answering. And then I want to see if we get more than one folks ready to try that one. And then I'll tell you who I want to go. Okay, I just want to make sure everyone has a chance and that everyone does make a solid effort to try answering a question. And I am talking a lot, as usual. Any questions at all about what I'd like to try doing today for this review? Anybody, please. Okay, no questions. So I'm going to put up a question on the screen. I'd like you to try doing it on your own. And if you can't figure it out, at least be able to tell me what you do know about it and what parts don't make sense, right? Like how far do we understand until it doesn't make sense anymore? So just tell me everything you know about the problem. And what do you think maybe we could do to try solving it? And then maybe at that point, we'll work it out together. Okay. And I would like everyone to try answering at least one question today. And I'm going to mark down on my participation attendance everyone who answers at least one question. I'm going to count that as participation today. Okay. So I really don't want to pick names and say, all right, now it has to be you to go because you haven't answered at all. So I am going to make it voluntary, but just remember, I am going to be keeping track of who's trying, and that's all I'm looking for. It's just trying. So even if you can't figure out the whole thing, I just want to see you explaining what you do know or don't know about the question. Okay, here we go. So question 1. So this is an adding polynomials question. I didn't put a prompt there, but let's say simplify. Negative 3x squared plus 2x minus 4 plus 4x squared plus 5x plus 9. So take a shot at adding these together, and when you're ready to share, or at least tell me what you do know about the question, tell me that in the chat or with your mic, and then we will answer it.
Hey, Josiah.
Manaya.
Oh, I think I have the answer. I think
Awesome.
I did it right.
Awesome. Okay, just hold on one sec, and let me see if anyone else also has an option that they want to share, and then we'll go from there. Okay, Manaya, I'll probably pick you first, but I want to hear if anyone else is ready to share as well. Thank you. Hunter's here today. Let's see. Keegan's here. Braden, Janessa, Delaney. Who else is here? Bailey, Aaron. Bailey, Aaron, Delaney. No Lasia. Okay. Now remember, everybody, we're adding two polynomials. So we're adding like terms. So we can only add or subtract together terms that have matching variables. So like the x numbers could go together or add together. The x squared numbers could add together. And then the non-x numbers, the constants, the ones that don't have variables, could add together.
I'm not really sure. I kind of forgot, but wasn't one step we could take like 2x and 5x out and then add it once you've removed them, kind of put it to the side.
Nice. Braden, yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
You mean just the two parts that we know for sure could add together? Yeah, like this 2x
Yeah.
and this 5x. Those are like terms. So you're saying do it off to the side and then come back and do more of the problem?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Please do that and see what you get for the other matching terms. I'm going to write down kind of what you said. 2x plus 5x. Well, that equals so many x's. And if we do the same thing with the x squareds and then the whole numbers, the constants, we should have our simplified answer. Awesome.
So for the negative 3x and the 4x, wouldn't it just be 1x squared left?
Yes, very good. Correct. And that's just these two sections. I'm going to double underline them to kind of show they go together. Negative 3x squared plus 4x squared. And Aaron said it's just 1x squared. Very good.
And then you could do the 4 and the 9.
4
Was
and the
that a
9.
negative?
Good catch. Negative 4 and 9.
Okay, yeah, the negative 4 and 9.
Oops, there we go. So there's kind of our 3 parts, right? To add these 2 polynomials together, where we've located the different sections that can add together. Awesome. Aaron, thank you. Braden. So did anyone finish these? I know Manaya has an option. Did anyone else try finishing these up and put it all together for our final answer?
I have a question.
Manaya, yeah.
So for the x, or for the 1x2, can't you just put x2?
Beautiful. Yep, that's what I wanted to mention. Thank you for bringing it up. Now, why would we do that, Manaya?
Because it's still technically a 1, and whether it's there or not, it's still going to be 1.
Exactly, yeah. Technically a 1, but we don't want to show that if we don't have to. So we clean it up a little bit more by not showing that times 1, but technically its coefficient is 1. Very good. Did anyone get the 2x, 5x, or the negative 4 and 9?
I did.
Manaya, what'd you get?
For the 2x and 5x, I got 7x. And then for the negative 4 plus 9, I got 5.
Perfect. Now, if you don't mind, how come it's 5 and not negative 5?
Because the 4 is negative, when we add it together, it's basically subtraction.
Very good. Thank you. So if we put all of these together for our polynomial answer, we'll have x squared plus 7x plus 5. Awesome. Any questions on this problem before we try another one? Next up, I think I've got a subtraction. So it's basically the same kind of problem. Here it is. And I did include the multiple choice answers there. So it's basically the same thing we just did, except that whole second parentheses, that whole second polynomial is being subtracted. So remember, it's going to be minus everything inside there, not plus everything inside there like we did before. Minus 2x squared, minus 2x, and then minus negative 5.
Can I say the answer if I have it?
Is that Manaya?
Yeah.
You can, Manaya. You can share it. Let me just wait a few moments for other people to try working it out, and then you can say it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. So everyone try working this out, and then you can compare your answer to what Manaya is going to say.
I'm gonna assume that since it's subtraction now, when we take the numbers out and put them to the side, we're gonna subtract them and not add them.
Exactly. Very good.
All right, then I'm gonna continue.
Okay. And just keep in mind, everybody, what happens when we have minus a negative?
It's still subtraction, and it's still technically 2 negatives, which make it a positive.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you end up with minus negative 5, well, that's going to turn into plus 5. The 2x squared, the 2x, those two are already positive, right? So they're being legitimately subtracted. They turn negative because of this, because of the minus sign on the outside.
I think I have an answer too.
Aaron, awesome. Okay. Anyone else ready with some of the answer or the whole thing that they want to compare to Manaya's?
I'm just still working on it, so they
For
can
sure.
say the answer if you want.
Keep working. I'm going to wait another 15 seconds. Okay. Thanks for your patience. Thanks to everyone for trying it out. Manaya, what did you get?
I got 2x exponent 2 minus 5x plus 13.
Minus 5x plus 13. This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very good. I think that is correct. 4x squared minus 2x squared, that's the first term. Negative 3x minus 2x gives her that negative 5x. Although now that I look at the options, they're all three of them had the negative 5x. And then 8 minus negative 5 gives her that plus 13. Awesome. Thanks, Manaya. Anyone else have any questions or comments on this before we move on? Okay. All right, let's try some more. Now, I think here we're going to move on and try a little multiplying. Which expression below of these grade choices is equivalent to this polynomial? So we need to compare all of these four options. So this is going to be some work. We're going to simplify all four of the gray options. And I think only one is going to match up with the polynomial at top, 6x squared plus 10x minus 56. So I see several steps. I see some like multiplying and then adding, just adding two polys. So take some time, and I want you to work through each of these four. And tell me if you want to talk about either of these four. I'm going to label them so that way we can talk about them. So there's A, B, C, and D. All right, so take a few moments, work this out, and see if you can find which one matches up with the given polynomial. Or ask if you have any questions. If you notice something interesting that you think might be good for others to know too, like a hint or a question, please share it. I'd love for everyone to hear what you notice.
I have the answer.
Manaya?
Yeah.
Okay. Just let's wait a minute and see if other people are needing a little more time.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, Manaya, do this for me. What's your first step when you were working through like this whole problem? Did you have a method as to how to go about checking A, B, C, and D?
Um, I took the problem for both the 6x2 plus 10x. Yeah, I divided all those numbers by 2, and then I got the first half of the answer. And then I took the first half of the answer and I multiplied, or I found like which terms can come to like 5, like which two numbers add up to 5. And then I split that into a number. And yeah, I just got my answer.
So you mentioned which ones add up to 5. Where did that come into play?
Well, when I multiplied the coefficient
Yeah.
of the term by the constant term, and which is 3 and 28. I multiplied that, and I got negative 84 because it was negative 28, and I got negative 84, and then I was stuck for a second, and I was like, maybe something should add up to 5, and then I multiply that to negative 84. So then I did that, and I multiplied it to negative 84, and I got 12 and 7. Yeah, and then I split 5x as the sum of 12 and 7, and negative 7x. And then I got 3x 2 plus 12x minus 7x minus 28. And then I factored out the common terms into two terms. And then I got 3x, 5x, negative 28 minus 3x2 plus 5x, negative 28.
Okay.
That's a whole lot.
You did that all really fast too.
Yeah.
So
But
wait, so the one you just read, that was like the bottom one, right? D?
yeah, D.
Okay. Um, double check that answer, Manaya. Try doing the subtraction. Try taking like the first poly minus the second poly that we see in D. At a glance, it seems like it works, but if you try combining the like terms, does it still work?
Okay.
Anyone else notice a hint or an approach of how you're starting it that might be helpful for everyone else? Would you mind
I'm
sharing?
sorry. I meant to say C, not D. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I was looking at C, but D just came to my mind. My bad.
Totally. Well,
But that's
it's all good, and I appreciate you double checking your work. That's awesome. This is what I want to do. Is you work through it, feeling good about it, or at least it feels like you're on the right track, and then we should always check our work just to be safe. Um, I was checking out B myself earlier before we talked, and it seems like it works, right? Let's look at it now together. 3x squared plus 3x squared. Okay, that works. That's our 6x squared. But I think we run into an issue with the 5x and the minus 5x. Because 5x minus 5x, it's going to cancel it completely, leaving us with like 0x or just nothing, right? It goes away completely. The 28's work out. It gives us the negative 56. But that darn term in the middle is not what we wanted it to match up with. So I think that puts it at one of the more complex looking options, the A or C option. Okay, I'd like to walk through this one, but before I do, and you know what, I don't mean to put anyone on the spot, and I really don't, and I realize I probably am. It's not my intention, but however, let's do this. If everyone could tell me either in the chat or with your camera on real quick, if you feel like you got it, or if you feel like you're kind of halfway through, you have some questions, any confusion at all. So like thumbs up, I feel like I got it, or sideways, thank you for that, for letting me know if there's some questions here. Okay, Aaron, I appreciate that. Thank you. And Braden, I see you, sir. Thank you. Keegan, thanks for letting me know. Delaney, thanks for that. Thanks for letting me know. All right, anyone else? Bailey, Janessa, Sai, Hunter, how you guys doing with this? Sai, thanks for letting me know. Let's look at this problem, and I look at it as we gotta. It sucks, but we just have to work through each one, because they're A, B, C, and D are all confusing looking at a glance, right? And we basically need to figure out which one matches with the polynomial at the top, the 6x squared polynomial. So let's look at A and C, the more complicated ones. So what I see is, okay, I've got 4 times the parentheses, so I'm going to start by multiplying that in. And we've got minus 2 times another parentheses. So really, folks, let's multiply that 2 in as well. And then we'll kind of regroup and see what we've got. 4 times x and 4 times negative 4. That'll be 4x minus 16. And for now, let's go. I'm going to keep it in some parentheses to just keep track of what's there. And let's do minus. And we'll multiply that 2 into the whole next parentheses. So that's 6x squared. And 6x. And 2 times negative 20, negative 40. Okay, now we can do the subtraction just like we did in the last example. There's no x squared number here, right? There's nothing there for x squared. So for my answer, simplified answer, it'll be negative 6x squared. That's coming from the second parentheses. Negative because it's being subtracted. Now for the 4x and the 6x. 4x minus 6x, that'll be, write it down, 4x minus 6x, negative 2x. And we could keep going, but I can see, comparing it to the answer at the top, I think we're on the wrong track with this option, right? It's supposed to be a positive 6x squared and a plus 10x. So I think at this point, we can eliminate this as an option. And let's be safe. I don't want to just say, okay, I think we've narrowed it down to C. Let's work it out a little bit and see if it lines up. So I'm looking at C now. So 4x minus 16. That first part's the same. Now we're going to, actually, this is the same too. We're multiplying in a plus 2, positive 2. So 6x squared, 6x minus 40. Okay, now let's see what we get. 6x squared. 4x plus 6x gives us the 10x. Good. This has got to be right. And then negative 16, negative 40 together, negative 56. Oops. So like I said, I look at this problem and I do kind of roll my eyes. I'm sure you did too, some of you. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do here. Yeah, it's a lot of computation because we basically had to check all 4 options. I looked at the options and B and D were a little faster to work out because we can just do the glancing, like 3x squared, cool, that's 6x. And you can do that a little faster. A and C were harder. We had to do more work to narrow it down. Okay, no comments or questions. We'll move on and try another one. And if there are comments or questions, I always welcome them. Please just jump in. All right. Here we go. This is a good one. This is what we started with on the first day, was naming these things, naming the polynomial. So let's do a little review on that. What classification describes the resulting polynomial? So when they say resulting, they mean simplify this expression we have, simplify the whole mess, and then name it. So this will be good practice. I want you all to try this one. It's a little simpler than the last one, I think, with all the multiplying. We've got to multiply our 2 into the first poly, and then we're going to add the 2 polynomials. So take a moment and try to work through this one. And if you have questions, or if you notice something helpful, something that for you felt good and helpful to solve it, then please, I'd love to hear it.
To multiply the 2 into the x, would it just be negative 2x?
Correct. Very good, Aaron.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of catch up with Aaron, multiplying that 2 into the first parentheses. So we get 6x squared. And then, like she said, negative 2x. 2 times negative 7, negative 14. And there's our first parentheses, our first polynomial now.
I have the answer.
All right, Manaya?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one sec, Manaya. Let's just wait a few more moments to see if other people need more time to combine these.
All right.
Okay. Pay attention to those negatives. There's a lot of negatives in this one. But we can solve it the same way that Braden pointed out at the very beginning, is identify the like terms and do those off to the side, like one at a time. Okay, Manaya, go for it if you're ready.
I got linear, liner.
Good. Linear. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Linear binomial.
Linear binomial. Perfect. What did you get when you simplified the polynomials on the right?
I got negative 6x minus 16, but I think that's wrong though.
No, I think you're totally on point. Let's double check. And we'll do them one at a time. 6x squared minus 6x squared. I got that from the first poly and the second poly, matching like terms. Those cancel.
Right.
It's gone. Negative 2x plus negative 4x. So I'm going to write it as negative 2x minus 4x. Negative 6x. That's what you said. Good. And then negative 14, negative 2 is negative 16.
Okay.
Nice job. So then
Yeah.
what you're left with is this business, negative 6x minus 16.
Mhm.
And that's where she said, okay, it's a binomial. So it's got to be one of these two. It's 2 terms, remember? So that's why it's binomial. 1, 2. Here's my question. Can anyone tell me why it's linear and not quadratic? How do we know? Anything at all? Any hint or any association, any reason you have at all for it, please?
Because it doesn't have the exponent.
Exactly. Very good, Avery. Yeah, it's just plain old x. And so we define that as linear. If you think back to your Math 1 days, so it's just a side note here. If we had y equals negative 6x minus 16 and you graph this, you'll get a straight line. It'll look something like this. And if we graph a quadratic that has like x squared in it, like any polynomial that we've been dealing with, then we'll get a different shape, which actually we'll dig into for unit 3. Don't worry about that right now. Anyways, that's where the linear comes from. It's a straight line. If you graph it as y equals that, it gives you a straight line. Awesome. Okay, we got 20 minutes left, and we've only done a few questions. Let's keep going. Let's do a few more. And if you can't see this, let me know, and I'll try to make it bigger. The difference of two trinomials is this, x squared minus 10x plus 2. If one of the trinomials is this one, 3x squared minus 11x minus 4, then which expression could be the other trinomial? Now, this is a tricky challenge. The difference of two trinomials is blank. And then they give us one of the trinomials, and we're supposed to find what is the second one. Let me try to model out how I'm thinking about this question. Trinomial minus the other trinomial. We'll say number 1 and number 2. Equals x squared minus 10x plus 2. It says that in the first sentence. And then the second sentence says one of the trinomials is the 3x squared. They don't tell us which one, if it's the number 1 or number 2. But we can put that in for one of them. Let's make it the positive one, the first one, like this. 3x squared minus 11x minus 4 minus this trinomial 2, the mystery trinomial.
I have the answer.
You are super fast. You're faster than me. Okay, Manaya, don't tell me the answer, but tell me how you solved it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So I subtracted the first it's the first one from what we got. I subtracted that, and then I got my answer because that seemed easier.
Okay, I think you did what I'm setting up, but maybe I'm just writing more. You subtracted which one from which one? Can you tell me?
The 3x2 minus 11x minus 4. I subtracted it from the x2 10x.
Beautiful.
Plus.
That's basically where I was going with what I started setting up here. If you look at my long, scary-looking equation, how would I combine like terms here? I would have to do opposites because we've got an equal sign, right? So minus 3x squared, and that can combine over here with this guy, x squared, so minus 3x squared. And so I'm subtracting the 3x poly from the first poly. And I think I'm doing what you did.
Yeah.
What did you get for the x squared term? Just the x squared portion.
4x2.
Okay, let's see. Hang on a second. 3, 1 minus 3. Okay, so for the first term, the x squared term, to get a 4, we've got to be, I think, adding 3x squared and 1x squared. You're adding the 2. Is that right?
The way I did it was I subtracted the x2. Yeah, I subtracted all that. And then, so I put it in like quotation marks. Is that the thing?
Yeah, we can do that. So you know what? Do me a favor. Just forget about the writing I've got up here. Can you just walk me through what you did line by line?
Yeah. So when I put it in quotation marks, I put 3x. Well, how you have it set up. So 3x2 minus 11x plus minus 4x equals x2 minus 10x plus 2, and then
Wait a minute, like this?
Yeah.
With an equal sign? Okay.
Yeah. And then uh, I took where the equal sign is. I just made that plus 2. So I'll just reset it. So keep that, and
Okay.
then write x2 minus 10x plus 2 plus quotation marks or not quotation marks.
Okay, so wait, I've got that already. X squared minus 10x plus 2. And you want me to put up parentheses around this?
Parentheses. That's what they call it.
Like this?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you have to write it different. You have to write it. You have to write it 3x. So you have to write. So keep that right there, what you have, and then underneath it. Underneath it, write x2 minus 10x plus 2.
Like this.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then
Like this. Minus that whole thing?
no parentheses right there.
Ah, okay. Let me fix it. I got it.
Complicated.
Yeah, it is. We're doing a good job. Keep going.
And then parentheses in the parentheses is gonna be 3x to minus 11x plus 4x, and then well, you was doing it right because like if you I did the 3x to minus the or plus the x2 and I got 4x, and then I did the negative 10x.
Okay. And so, Manaya, I thank you so much for helping me and for playing along with this. Not to say it's a game, but I appreciate you like trying and your input and your patience with me.
Yeah.
I do think though, in order to get a 4x squared, the first term, it has to be that we added our first two terms, right? Like
That's what I
it's
did. I added the 3x2 and the x2, and I got 4x2, and then I added the negative 10x and the negative 11x, and I got negative 21x, and then I added the 2 and the negative 4, and I got negative 2.
so the only issue I see with adding them is that's like, let's see, you know what? Maybe that's not an issue with adding them. Here, hang on a second. Let me try one more thing here. I'm going to say trinomial number 1 minus trinomial number 2. It says at the top the difference of two trinomials. So that's why I'm starting with this trinomial minus another one equals this x squared polynomial. I'm getting all that from the first sentence. Now, actually, you know what? You're right. If we make our 3x1, 3x squared, if that is trinomial number 2, which there's no reason why it shouldn't be, then we would be adding, wouldn't we? We would end up adding it. So what I'm going to do is basically, you guys remember substitution. We usually do it with smaller, easier looking equations, but let's do it here. We're going to substitute in 3x squared, that whole poly from the word problem, as trinomial number 2. So I'm going to kind of plug that in with parentheses, just like Manaya did right here. 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. Remember, that's being minus, so I'm going to bring that down. Bring down everything. Trinomial number 1. Okay, you know what? And now we do get what Manaya is getting. Let me see here. Plus. So imagine now we're adding the whole 3x squared parentheses to both sides. I'll write it the same way. Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess this is 4x squared. My bad, Manaya. So I was looking, kind of on the spot. We should get the same answer whether we choose to plug it in for trinomial 1 or trinomial 2. But when I was starting it as trinomial 1, it looked like I was going to get a 2x instead of the 4x, which is weird. So I need to look at that later and figure out what I don't see about it. But anyways, trinomial 1 here would be, like she said, 4x squared minus 21x and then negative 2.
We can't see it. It's cut off.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
There we go.
You could see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, Manaya, I think you and I did it the same way, and your communication was great. I think it was a good first try for you to direct me, and we should keep doing that as a group. Let's see. We've got 10 minutes or less, so let's try doing one more. Any other questions on this crazy difference problem? Did anyone get another option and maybe would mind telling me what they did? I'm sure no one wants to after that long process, but I'd love to hear from you. Seriously. That's weird. Which expression could be the other trinomial? You know what I wonder? I think, honestly, one of these options here, folks, with the 2's is actually correct. Because the question is, which expression could be the other trinomial? And I think, honestly, the one Manaya found is correct. And I think one of these options with the 2x squared is correct also. In order to get the 2x squared, all that means is you plugged in the 3x squared into trinomial 1. So I think this does have 2 correct answers. I'll have to check that out later to make sure, but I think that's what's happening. Okay. Here's a good one to maybe end on today. What is the simplest form of this expression? So it's multiple choice, but all we see that we really have to simplify is multiplying 3x to the inside of the parentheses. So take a moment, try to simplify that, multiply, and let me know if you get something that you would like to share. Now, just a reminder, I asked everyone today to please try to answer at least one question. I know we didn't get through too many, but right now I've just got Aaron, Manaya, and Braden who shared anything. So if I could hear from other folks too during this, I'd really appreciate it. Even if you can't answer it, at least tell me what you know about it or maybe how you might start.
I have the answer.
Okay. Just hold tight, Manaya. I want to give others
Okay.
a chance too. Thank you for letting me know and for solving it. Okay. No one's jumping in. So, Manaya, go ahead and just walk me through how you found your answer. How'd you solve it?
I just multiplied 3x into all of it. I
Okay.
multiplied 3x and negative x exponent 2 plus, and then I multiplied the 3x and 2x, and then I multiplied the 12 and 3x.
For sure. So let's do those multiplications. Walk me through that. 3x times negative x squared, what is that?
Negative 3x 3.
Oh, let me stop you real quick. Negative 3x. Okay, negative 3. I see where you got that. How do you know it's x to the third power?
Because it's already 2, but there's another one being in there, so get the 3.
Good. Thank you. Next.
And then plus 6x2 because negative 3x. 3x times 2x is
Is where you got that 6, and then x times x is x squared. Is that okay? Are you still there? Is everything good?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I think I just lost your audio for a second connection. And then last up, you got your 36,
3x
right?
times 12 is 36x.
Okay, very good. Thanks for sharing, and I appreciate that. All right, folks, I'll stop now. And I do have attendance for today. Let me do this before I let you go. If I can have everyone else who didn't share